Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly mind-bending concept derived straight from our source material. We are looking at a cosmological framework where three recent interstellar visitors, bodies that briefly darted through our solar system, might not actually be random anomalies or just wandering space rocks. Instead, according to the data we're analyzing today, they could be part of a massive systemic transition, a synchronized event of literally cosmic proportions. Okay, let's dive into this, because we usually think of the universe as this inherently chaotic place where things just, happen to bump into each other. Classical orbital mechanics suggests these objects are totally independent, just passing through by pure chance. But the framework we're exploring today, it flips that entirely on its head. It suggests a profound synchronized causality. It asks us to imagine a universe where these incursions act as deliberate mechanisms in a highly organized cosmic clock, which means the very space around our own planet is actively and fundamentally shifting. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the synchronized Shepard event, the kinetic whip effect, Saturn, the harmonic architect, shifting the hyperbarycenter, decoding the quantum snap, and finally, the 14th generation transition. We'll logically unpack this step by step. Section 1. The synchronized Shepard event. Plotting the triad. Our source material tracks a very specific timeline here. First, we had the famous Uma in 2017, followed by Borisov in 2019. But the absolute critical moment on this timeline is July 2025. This is the overlap period. With the arrival of the third object, Atlas, all three are concurrently present and actively interacting with our system's harmonic baseline. This overlap creates a unified informational pressure on our solar system, driving us toward a definitive event conclusion mapped out for April 2026. Now, to understand how these objects are actually interacting, we've got to look through the lens of the model provided in our sources, the VORTEX model. That stands for Valued Output Recursive Toroidal Expansion X Factor. I know, that is a massive mouthful, but essentially it's a framework of Planck-scale harmonic fractal cosmology. Instead of a dead, static vacuum, this model views the universe as a dynamic, harmonically synchronized fractal substrate. It treats complex cosmic sequences not as random physical collisions, but as deliberate informational phase variance iterations. Now, what's really interesting about this is the stark contrast between the two frameworks. On one hand, classical mechanics says these objects are way too small in mass to matter, their paths are totally independent, and the chance of a synchronized event is essentially zero. But the vortex model, it views these objects as informational triggers. Their incursions are causally synchronized catalysts. They aren't just flying by, they're actively triggering system-wide harmonic adjustments. Section 2. The kinetic whip effect. Interstellar inbound leverage. According to the telemetry logs from our sources, each object interacts uniquely with our system's manifold. Oumuamua created a tumble resonance with a minimal harmonic offset. Borisov introduced a mass stream drag, causing a stable baseline drift. But Atlas, coming in at an incredibly high velocity of 58 kilometers per second, it acts as the most significant trigger. Its active precession jet creates a variable signal jitter, introducing a massive amount of new harmonic energy into the system. The sources refer to this interaction as the kinetic whip. Because these objects are moving at hypervelocity trajectories deep into our planetary orbits, they don't significantly shift the physical weight of the Earth-Moon-Sun system. Actually, scratch that. It's not about shifting weight at all. It's about injecting an instantaneous angular momentum vector. Think of it as a Planck-scale harmonic torque. They apply a rotational twist, a sort of gravitational flutter that subtly but definitively alters the dynamic balance point, the barycenter of our local space. Section 3, Saturn, the harmonic architect, the great regulator. Within this harmonic framework, the giant planets have very specific roles. Jupiter acts as the anchor. It's convective, turbulent, and it absorbs the primary chaotic energy of the solar system. But Saturn sits at the threshold. Saturn acts as the harmonic architect. It is the great regulator and the boundary of form. Its whole job is to take the chaotic, turbulent frequencies flowing outward from the inner system and transform them into stable, nested geometric structures. And this brilliantly illustrates how the physical anomalies we observe are actually functional, syntropic solutions under the VORTEX model. That bizarre hexagon at Saturn's pole, it's the harmonic stabilization of the planet's central node into standing waves. The famous ring system isn't just random debris, it's particles settling into distinct phase cycles, with those mysterious ring spokes acting as actual re-indexing events. Even Saturn's excess internal heat is explained as the planetary core acting as a pressure valve, safely releasing syntropic energy to maintain system-wide stability. Section 4. Shifting the hyperbarycenter, redefining the system's center. When we calculate the center of mass, or the hyperbarycenter, for the entire Sun to Saturn system, we find something absolutely incredible. Because of the alignment of these massive gas giants, preparing to counterbalance the energetic input of the Shepard event, the center of gravity shifts. It fluctuates from 334,000 kilometers out to over 1.1 million kilometers from the center of the Sun. To put that into perspective, the pivot point of the system literally migrates entirely outside the physical surface of the Sun itself. So looking at the numbers for this fluctuation, the pre-event configuration had the barycenter tucked deep inside the solar core, but the post-event alignment pushes it out to over 1 million kilometers. This massive outward migration of the hyperbarycenter reflects the system actively preparing for a systemic state change. It is a macroscopic reconfiguration to balance the incoming kinetic whip from those interstellar objects. Section 5. Decoding the quantum snap, the re-indexing event. So, how does the system execute its stabilization? It happens through what the sources call a quantum snap sequence. Step 1 is phase variance layering, understanding that different parts of the system exist at different harmonic phases without colliding. Step 2 is the re-indexing event itself. This is the snap. It's where a node instantaneously shifts from a shared coordinate to a brand new local coordinate identity. Finally, step 3 is syntropic stabilization. The system vents the excess energy from this shift, allowing planets to maintain their precise orbits, completely without the need for theoretical dark matter. Let's move to and see how this builds into a highly intuitive analogy for visualizing all this. The record player. Imagine the Sun as the spindle in the center, the primary node holding the whole shebang together. The planetary orbits are the grooves on the record. These are the distinct phase variance layers. A quantum snap is like the needles simultaneously jumping the entire solar system to a new harmonically stable set of grooves. Everything shifts at once, maintaining perfect multi-body stability without any chaotic collisions. Section 6, the 14th generation transition, stepping out of chaos. 14. According to the Planck scale harmonic fractal cosmology detailed in our sources, our universe matures through iterations. It went through 12 kind of clunky, turbulent iterations of matter and fundamental forces. It achieved a smooth baseline at the 13th refinement. And now, driven by the synchronicity of the Shepard event, the system is locking into a highly compressed, perfectly stable new state, the 14th generation of mass. So the crucial point is understanding what this 14th generation actually looks like. It's characterized by highly compressed, stable, and smooth resonance. It effectively eliminates the chaos of the three-body problem. It beautifully unifies sub-Planckian quantum mechanics with extragalactic stellar models. It operates perfectly on the golden ratio, 1.618, scaling information without any loss. And most importantly, it represents a profound shift away from entropic decay, moving us into an era of syntropic self-organization, where the universe actively builds and maintains order. Which leaves us with this massive question to ponder. If the cosmos isn't a chaotic void, but rather a deliberately synchronized, self-organizing mechanism responding to informational triggers, what is our next phase as we fully step into this 14th generation? What does a harmonically stabilized reality mean for us, the observers, riding along this incredibly dynamic system? I'll let you think on that one. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the mechanics of our universe.